When I opened my eyes, I saw a huge sign in front of me that read, "Heart Hunter, give me your love." It seemed like I hadn't woken up yet. Before me was an unfamiliar window, an unfamiliar bed, and an unfamiliar face. I couldn't understand what was happening and tried to calm down and figure things out. I remembered yesterday when, after a school week, I spent the whole night playing games that I hadn't had time for before. Then I got exhausted and fell asleep. Gradually, I realized that I was inside a game, but it didn't bother me at all. Quite the opposite. This sign was familiar to me. I had seen it somewhere before. It seemed to be an anime game, and it seemed to be a love simulator where you can meet all sorts of characters. I had played a game of the same genre before I ended up here. Surely this one has the same style and a stupid name as usual. Maybe I'm so obsessed with anime games that they're already in my dreams. I was ecstatic about what was happening. This dream seemed so real, and I could create my own harem here. In some similar games, after completing missions, you can build your own harem. In some, it's impossible, but the ability to create your own harem is the main advantage of anime games. I decided to leave the room, although I wasn't sure if it was safe. Judging by the outdated name and pink tones around, there are unlikely to be any dangers here. So I can assume the genre of the game. And since it's my dream, it can't be gloomy. I expected to see a dormitory behind the door. On the door, I saw the name Diana, so I decided to use that name. I went outside. What a magnificent view. It seemed that the school was elite, so where should I start? I saw a guy and realized something. I was fascinated by his beauty, and then a heart appeared above his head, followed by another one. They were just floating above him. I realized that it was an indicator and meant he was my target. I ran after him, but on the way, I bumped into another guy. I was embarrassed, but maybe it was some kind of event. He was also stunningly beautiful. With such looks, he could be the main character. The situation was like the prologue of a game. He was saying something, but I was lost in my thoughts and just admired him. He reached out his hand and lifted me up. It seemed like one of those romantic goals, and the moment was perfect. I tried to understand what the catch was, as in games, when a character looks like an angel, they usually have a bad character, and vice versa. When they look bad, they're actually innocent. The guy in front of me was very polite, but judging by his appearance, he was just pretending to be good. Of course, I could be wrong, but my intuition rarely fails me. I don't have enough information, so let's not jump to conclusions and go back to the character concepts. There are several types of heroines. Passionate, introverted type 4 leaves who consider themselves fundamentally different from others. This was a personality who doesn't like to inconvenience others. It may seem banal and boring, but the catch is in persistence. I don't particularly like this type of personality, but it's okay. The main thing is to leave a good impression. His heart was white. It seems like I came across someone who is not interested in the heroine at all. I turned around and left. How many romantic goals are still ahead? I've already met 2. What if there are only 4 people in total? In some games, the maximum number is 12, and I haven't met either of these 2 yet. I came across a notice board. There was an announcement that the school year begins tomorrow. That day, I didn't know that my greed and dreams would surpass my imagination. Then I saw a crowd of people and realized that the goals in this game were not only men, women too, even a dog and a grandpa. Oh my God, my imagination is really crazy. Because I correctly understood that the heart means the target's sympathy towards you. Seeing a cute guy, I asked where the class was. It seemed like I was playing an angel who conquers people's love. I started talking to all the guys, girls, even dogs and grandpas. I was ready to do anything to find out the truth. Still, I dreamed of an ordinary harem of guys, not all of this. But it seems I should change my plans. I won't impose myself. First, I'll come up with a character for myself. Also, my goals should know that I'm collecting a harem. I just need to be patient and work hard. By the word harem, it means the love of several girls for one man. But there is also a reverse harem, and it's my favorite genre of games, also known as otome. You have the freedom not to choose one from the many. This is not enough for me. According to the plots of such games, I will have to choose one, and after the choice, I will not be able to return to other relationships. But if this is my dream, maybe I can avoid it. And what if I leave many goals? They will kill each other out of jealousy. But this is just a game, and it has a happy ending so that everyone, especially me, will be happy. Education here was not much different from what I had in reality. But everything was incredibly beautiful here. Both the teacher and classmates had unremarkable working beautiful faces, and everyone could become a target. Of course, education worried me least now. I was worried about how to make a choice since there were so many goals. I thought of going to another class and looking at other targets. And then the guy I asked for directions to the class yesterday stopped me and offered to take me where I needed to go. Along the way, we got acquainted, and he invited me to a restaurant. It was simple. He was cute, and it wouldn't be bad to add him to the harem first. He reached out to me, hugged me, and pressed me against a tree. He started touching me, whispering in my ear about how cute I was and how he dreamed of me at first sight. I pulled away and told him that I was not cute, and it was time for us to go. The guy Diana bumped into earlier was watching what was happening. Suddenly, his heart turned red. I woke up and was once again overwhelmed by thoughts that caused me stress. All these characters I need to figure out. The guy I wanted to add to my harem seemed like a pervert. I needed to keep him away. I decided to ignore him. He annoyed me. I was worried that there was nothing else besides the heart indicator. If I made a mistake, I wouldn't be able to rewind. I wondered where the reset button was and if I had any money. So many questions worried me. Where are the controls? Do they put you in jail for murder in my dream? If I can't save, then I should be more careful. I have to achieve the perfect ending. One wrong decision, and it will all be over. It's hard to successfully complete the game on the first try, but I was determined. The clingy guy, his name was Pan, chased me every day, and I rejected him as best I could. But he was too clingy. I wanted him to leave me alone as soon as possible. He was getting in the way of me progressing in the game. I even thought about killing him. Rumors about us had already started in class. Everything was not going as I wanted. I banged my head against the wall and wanted to wake up. But then the guy I bumped into on the first day stopped me from behind. I felt embarrassed that he saw everything I was doing and talking about. He called me by name, but we hadn't met before. How did he know my name? And this time, there were 2 red hearts above him. What changed during that time? We saw nothing, and he already had 2 hearts, almost like that pervert. It's strange. Maybe 2 hearts above the head indicate that the owner is not in their right mind. That would explain a lot. I was there when Pan hit on you and heard him call you by name. He said he wants to help me, and that I shouldn't pretend because he knows who I really am. He had many positive qualities. His name was Cassian von Alexia. Adults wanted him to grow up well and gave him many compliments. He didn't really like it, but he grew up to justify their expectations, to be loved by those around him. That was the peculiarity of his personality. He wasn't sincere, but he considered himself a reincarnation of an angel. People turned to him with their requests, which annoyed him, but he didn't mind. In his soul, he felt lonely. Diana touched something in him. He tried to understand why she ran away from him so quickly that day, whether there was something wrong with him or whether something distracted her attention. He remembered how Pan was hitting on Diana. It excited him. He knew Pan and who he really was. Surely, if he had stood up for her then, she would have fallen in love with him. But did he need that? But from that day on, he became interested. His hobby became observing Diana. She was sweet to everyone, even Pan, but when she seemed like a completely different person, it seemed like she was hiding something. He wanted to understand what exactly. When she was bothered, she hid where she could relax. He thought they were similar, that she also hides her true self. He was interested in this. He wanted to become her savior so that they could be themselves with each other. He wanted to become a refuge for her. Suddenly, Diana grabbed him by the tie, pressed him against the wall, and kissed him. He was shocked. He said he had been watching her and knew her secret. He assured her that he was on her side and wanted to help her, and would help her get out of this situation. Diana looked at him incredulously and surprised, pitying that she could trust him. She grabbed him by the tie and said, "Prove it!" and reached for his lips again. He was even a little embarrassed by her pressure. Something went wrong with his plan. He imagined her differently. Apparently, she was nothing like him. He was an ordinary hypocrite and pretended to be what people wanted to see in him. He was also too arrogant, although sometimes he was ashamed of it. He was clearly embarrassed, and my kiss confused him. Maybe I went too far and doubted myself, but I didn't expect it to surprise him so much. Isn't this what he wanted? Cassian hesitated. He felt pathetic for letting Daeun take the lead. He didn't expect her to be like this. I reminded him that he promised to help me. She assured him that he could trust me too. He was touched. He wanted to find someone who would accept him for who he is. He didn't know if Diana would be an angel who would save him, or a devil who would take him to hell. But he clearly had feelings for her. He was so emotional that he even cried, but Diana allowed him to show this vulnerability. He asked if I knew his name. I felt embarrassed for kissing him without even introducing myself. He introduced himself and said that he liked me. 3 red hearts appeared above him. He leaned in and kissed me on the cheek. It was morning, and I was in the same room I was used to, but the atmosphere was different because today I made progress towards my goal. Of course, I was happy to have a new target. I tried to open the console, but I couldn't figure it out. I'll deal with it later. I remembered Cassian. I didn't expect things to turn out this way with him. I thought this character had a more intriguing dark past, but he turned out to be soft and not so bad. I didn't know how long I would stay in this place, and I had 2 choices. Option 1, to enjoy a romance with Cassian, and we could spend the remaining time well with each other. Option 2, the path to my dream, creating a harem. If something goes wrong, I could lose Cassian, and I could wake up before I collect the harem. It all depends on my choice, but I don't think I have anything to worry about. I met with Cassian and told him directly that I dreamed of creating a harem. He was shocked. "What do you think?" I asked him. I wasn't going to let Cassian go because it was a relationship, and I needed his consent to join the harem. It was important to me to have someone who understood me nearby. I was going to make Cassian the first one. To my surprise, he said it was a good idea, but he asked me not to take Pan, as he considered him a terrible person. I was surprised and didn't believe that he liked this idea. Yes, marriage between 2 people is legal in the country, and what you want is illegal, said Cassian. But you can do whatever you want. His main concern was that I wouldn't leave him. The game also featured a Florentine character class with whom relationships were always complicated and unpleasant, and a Jargo class who often wore something dark and dangerous. Cassian was a good advisor, so I had nothing to worry about. Rumors were already spreading in class that Cassian and I were dating, and the girls asked me about it. One of the guys was eavesdropping on our conversation. Maybe it was an event? Maybe they would try to interfere with me. After all, Cassian was very popular in the academy, both among women and men. Yes, I was to blame for not hiding our relationship, and now I had to solve this problem myself. They would be following me, destroying innocent love. "That's all you wanted to ask me?" I asked the girls. It was one almost empty heart. Apparently, I was indifferent to them. Now I understood that an empty heart meant that they were not interested in you. 1 full heart meant that they liked you. 2, abnormal interest, and 3, possible love. It seems that I will lose points as soon as I start any relationship. They seem to have asked just out of curiosity. I worried for nothing. They just loved to gossip. Panama's interest in me did not rise during this time, but it did not fall either. I asked Cassian about another guy in the class, and he said his name was Caesar. But did I want to know more about him? He seemed strange to me, and that worried me. Cassian thought Caesar hated him. He believed that he envied him. Cassian was very self-assured, and he began to explain why it happened. Caesar was watching the couple through the window. I was definitely glad that the guy had stopped bothering me. I became friends with the girls. The whole school knew that Cassian and I were dating. And I didn't like it, because now it will be hard to achieve another goal as everyone will think I'm busy. Yes, it was lonely, and it was easier for me than with a partner. Did Cassian know that everything would turn out this way, and therefore pretended to be calm? No, unlikely. Then Caesar approached me and said he had a talk with me. His indicator was almost empty. He led me somewhere, but it was already time for me to go, so I asked him to tell me everything here. He said he deceived me. Meanwhile, Cassian was looking for me, and someone told him that I had left with Caesar. Caesar claimed that Cassian wasn't who he pretended to be. There is something behind his sweet face. He wants to use you, Caesar said, and you should break up with him before it happens. He pretended to sympathize with me, but it was obvious he wanted to hurt Cassian. I didn't believe Caesar. He was exaggerating because he didn't like Cassian. During the conversation, Caesar became more interested in me. Suddenly, he said he would be my boyfriend. I found it amusing when it hit me. Caesar was upset with Cassian because, at the age of 7, he shouted his nickname to the whole class. He didn't understand what was so bad about it. I wondered if I should switch from Cassian to Caesar. I grabbed him by the face and asked if he could handle everything I do with Cassian. Of course, that's exactly what I'm offering you, Caesar said calmly. I asked if I could call him by his nickname. His nickname was Bambi. He was surprised that I knew it, but I was Cassian's girl. Caesar was clearly confused, and I asked if Caesar wanted to be my lover. Caesar was clearly bewildered by such an offer. And then Cassian approached. "What's going on here?" he asked. I didn't tell him what had happened. Caesar didn't fully understand why I was covering for him. He was looking for a catch in it. Until tomorrow. Bambi howled at Caesar goodbye. Does she just make fun of me? Caesar thought, and he was left alone with his thoughts.
Want to know what happens to our heroes next? Then subscribe to our channel, like and write your thoughts in the comments, and we will definitely make a sequel. Thanks for watching and see you in a bit.